So last Friday, that is 7th of May, this is where we stopped. So we had told that the expression for average content of the load voltage waveform is Vm upon pi into 1 plus cos alpha. So I feel it would be beneficial for us to derive. It takes less than 5 minutes because it is many a times asked in the exam also. So this is that load voltage waveform. I will highlight it, for which I want to derive the expression for its average content. So as we know that the average content of any waveform, it needs that the waveform should be periodic in nature. That means it repeats itself after a definite interval of time, right? So for us, the waveform repeats itself every 2 pi radians or 360 degrees. So we'll just highlight that part of the waveform for which we want to do the average content analysis. Yeah. So our waveform starts here and it ends here. So we want to find out what is the average content of waveform, which actually starts at 0 and it ends at 2 pi. So the waveform starts at 0, alpha, pi, pi plus alpha, and 2 pi. Okay. So the agenda for today is this: deriving the expression for VLAVG of single phase half control bridge. Second is to enlist the different natures of load current available, that is purely sinusoidal, discontinuous rippled, continuous rippled, and ripple free. So I mentioned that if the load is purely resistive in nature, it leads to a purely sinusoidal IL. And if it is inductive, then it can have three natures. It can be discontinuous rippled, it can be continuous rippled, and it can be ripple free, that is constant. So depending upon the value of the inductor, we get these three different kinds of currents, that is number 2, 3, and 4. So if the value of inductance in series with R is very small, we get discontinuous rippled. If it is little larger, then it becomes continuous rippled. And if it is very, very large, that is encountered in case of motor loads, then it is ripple free. So this purely sinusoidal, discontinuous rippled, and continuous rippled, these three currents can actually be demonstrated using MATLAB Simulink, which I will if I find time today or in some other session. And the third is operation of single phase half control bridge with inductive loads. And as we know that we have to analyze or we have to study two kinds of inductive loads, that is small inductive load denoted as RL, and highly inductive or motor load, that is RLEB. Over to the first point, that is deriving the expression for VLAVG of single phase half control bridge, also known as semi converter. Yeah, so we'll see how we can derive it by following some generic steps. So first thing which we do is draw the waveform and denote important details. Instantaneous value of VL, x-axis. So 0, pi, 2 pi, and then we have alpha and pi plus alpha, and then and this is Vm. So we know that this particular nature is nothing but mathematically Vm sin omega t. So this is the value of t time period, which is 2 pi radians. So the formula for finding the average content of any periodic waveform is this. One over time period integration 0 to time period and VL of omega t d omega t. So we know that t is equal to 2 pi. So which is equal to 1 over 2 pi integration 0 to 2 pi, and VL of omega t, it follows mathematics Vm sin omega t d omega t. So Vm is constant, so we have Vm upon 2 pi integration 0 to 2 pi sine of omega t d omega t. So we know that in the interval 0 to 2 pi, 0 to alpha, the value of load voltage is 0. Similarly, from pi to pi plus alpha, the load voltage is again 0. So actually we need to integrate only from alpha to pi. But understand one thing, that alpha to pi has the same area as pi plus alpha to 2 pi. So what we do is we write it like this, which is equal to Vm upon 2 pi. If you want to be a little more specific, 0 to pi sine of omega t d omega t plus pi to 2 pi so it is integration alpha to pi, from alpha to pi the sine of omega t which is equal to Pm upon 2 pi into 2 into integration alpha to pi sine of omega t d omega t, which is equal to V upon pi. Integration of sine is minus cos, so definite integral alpha to pi, which is equal to Vm upon pi into minus cos of pi plus cos alpha. So minus of cos pi is 1. So we get the formula Vm upon pi into 1 plus cos alpha. Okay. So we have derived this expression here. So you can say VL of AVG is equal to Vm upon pi into 1 plus cos alpha. Now since cos function has a maximum value for theta equal to 0 and minimum value for theta equal to 180, that is why we can say that VLAVG max, it occurs for alpha equal to 0 degrees, which is equal to Vm upon pi into 1 plus cos 0, which happens to be 2 Vm by pi, and VLAVG min occurs for alpha equal to pi degrees or radians, which is equal to Vm upon pi into 1 plus cos pi, which is equal to 0. Okay, so the waveforms for VL corresponding to max comma min values are, so for alpha equal to 0 degrees, we will get zero, pi, 2 pi. Okay, so this is same as full wave uncontrolled rectifier, and for alpha equal to pi radians, so we can say this case represents no control and this represents full control. Okay, so we can plot a graph of VLAVG versus alpha. The minimum value of alpha, so we can say alpha is in degrees and VLAVG is in volts. So we have 0 and we have pi, and in between we have pi by 2, right? So what will be the value of VLAVG for alpha equal to pi by 2? So VLAVG for alpha equal to pi by 2 is Vm upon pi into 1 plus cos 90 equal to Vm upon pi. Yeah. So the maximum value of VLA, which is 2Vm by pi, and minimum is 0. So we have okay. Yeah, natures of IL. So we can make a comment here that the mathematical nature of load current IL depends upon nature of load. If load is purely resistive, then IL is purely sinusoidal, as shown below. Okay. So I will want to make a note here that nature of load does not affect VL, that is a load voltage, but it affects IL. Inductive load, sorry. Let me make some changes here. So we know that the current peak is Vm upon R. So we see here this was the first type. Now we already mentioned that inductive load, it affects the nature of load current and not the load voltage. So whether the load is purely resistive, the load voltage will continue to remain purely sinusoidal, and irrespective of the value of inductance in the load side, the load voltage will continue to remain sinusoidal. What will get affected is the nature of IL. Now we will see what is discontinuous rippled, continuous rippled and ripple free. Okay. So we can say that this current is also called as sinusoidal rippled. So make a comment here. This is called as sinusoidal. It is rippled. It has ripples. It has pulses. So it is called as sinusoidal rippled. And other currents, even if they are rippled, they have pulses, but they are non-sinusoidal. Okay. So we'll define what is continuous current and what is discontinuous current. Discontinuous. So discontinuous current basically means if the waveform of load current touches x-axis. Please listen this definition carefully. If the waveform of load current touches x-axis and remains on x-axis for a finite time, that is IL equal to 0, then it is called as a discontinuous current. No need to write that. Okay. If the waveform of load current IL does not touch the x-axis at all, but changes while remaining either above or below or both x-axis. Okay, so discontinuous current occurs for small values of L in load. Continuous current occurs for load. Okay, so we'll actually draw the waveform, then you will better appreciate it. Okay, so see here, I will highlight the intervals where it is touching x-axis and it is remaining on x-axis for a finite amount of time. So here the current is remaining zero in this durations. So it is called as a discontinuous current, right? So at alpha, at alpha, the current is increasing from 0 towards max because the load is getting connected to the source because the devices are on. So it increases from 0 to Imax at pi, and at pi it gets disconnected and it discharges because the inductor is having a small value. It is not able to maintain current as positive. So it falls to 0, it remains 0, and then when the next pair of devices turns on, then again the second diagonally opposite pair in the half control bridge will again connect the inductive load to the source, and being connected to the source or energy, the current starts increasing from 0 towards Imax, and then it gets disconnected and comes 0. So now similarly what we will do, we will draw the waveform for continuous current. So I will just copy this waveform and I will make the same changes down. So you see how we'll convert a discontinuous current waveform into a continuous current waveform. Okay. See where I'm making the changes. So here what we told, the IL does not touch x-axis at all, but changes while remaining either above or below or both the x-axis. So we also have to erase this thing. So now in case of discontinuous current mode, the current is shuffling between Imax and 0. But in case of continuous current mode, it will shift, it will shuffle between Imax and Imin. So now I will have to put another marker called as Imin, and that Imin is not equal to 0. See now I will also put horizontal marker line. Okay, so initially it is not starting from Imin because the circuit has just started. Okay, so we can say here, yeah, this is called example of continuous current. So this is called as discontinuous rippled, continuous rippled, and third is continuous ripple free. So the word continuous here continues to have the same meaning, that continuous means it will not touch zero, that is x-axis, it will never not remain on x-axis. Continuous means it is above. And ripple free means what? There are no ripples, there are no changes. So understand, pulses means actually ripples. Okay, so here we say it is rippled current. Okay. This is also rippled current. And this is ripple free. So for motor loads. Again, we'll copy this and we'll make the changes so you can appreciate. This continuous ripple free current in all standard textbooks is actually called as IA. Why IA? Because a motor has armature and the motor current is also called as armature current. That is why continuous ripple free current is denoted not as Imax Imin but as IA, A for armature. And here it is actually a DC current. Okay, so I'll erase everything which is here. Okay, everything is gone. The current does not have any changes, no ripples. That is what is called as a continuous ripple free current. Okay, so this is ripple free current. Ripple free. Okay, so I'll make a note here that this constant value of load current is denoted as IA as it flows through the armature winding of motor. Okay, sometimes some authors also denote it as I0. That's okay, no problem. Yeah. Now we come to the operation of single phase half control bridge with inductive loads. So here we have first one. So if you remember our circuit diagram for half control bridge, it has two diagonally opposite pairs. It is a symmetric half control bridge wherein in each arm of the bridge we have at least one SCR. So the diagonally opposite pair of a symmetric half control bridge, which we are going to study in syllabus, it has one SCR and one diode. The SCRs are denoted as T1 and T2, and the diodes are represented as D1 and D2. So we'll draw that bridge here. And the only difference between our yesterday's class and today's class as far as HCB operation is concerned is that the load in the previous session was only a single R. Now it is R in series with a small L. So over to the circuit. So what we do is that first we always draw the HCB or an FCB as a plain bridge rectifier, and then we decide that which diodes are to be converted into SCRs and which diodes are not. So these two are SCRs, and here there is a change. So okay, we want to show it as a small inductance, so we will show less number of turns here. The node X of the load, node Y of the load, R, L. The first SCR, the companion diode. The second SCR, the companion diode D2. And here we have the supply. Live, neutral. Okay, so the pairing remains the same, but only difference which we have to discuss is that what will happen after the inductor has already been charged. Okay, so one important principle to understand is this. If you understand this, you'll come to know that why these devices are conducting the way they are. So let me make a note here that remember that in operation with R load, in positive half cycle, T1 and D1 conduct for omega t greater than equal to alpha less than pi radians. In negative half cycle, T2 D2 conduct for omega t greater than pi plus alpha greater than pi plus alpha and less than equal to 2 pi radians. No device conducts in the intervals omega t greater than or equal to 0 radians, less than alpha radians, and omega t greater than pi radians, so less than equal to pi plus alpha radians. Okay, so the conduction period for each of the 4 devices is how much? It is alpha, is alpha radians. Okay, why? So alpha to pi, so it is pi minus alpha radians. Okay, so okay, let me put it in a better way. So the first diagonally opposite pair, it conducts from alpha to pi, so the conduction period is pi minus alpha radians. T2 T2, they conduct from pi plus alpha radians to 2 pi radians, so again it's pi minus alpha. There is a purpose 5 for which I am discussing all these things, because in case of RL loads this is actually going to change. Okay, so we will not be able to finish the whole operation today, but at least we will discuss one important concept from first year of engineering, that is how a charge inductor, it tries to maintain the current through it in the same direction. Okay, so we will take a detour to understand a very important concept, is that behavior of a charge inductor. Okay, see now, so you consider an inductor L. It has 2 nodes X and Y. So if L is connected to an energy source, either DC or AC, it gets charged. This is the first fact. Second thing is while charging, the current flows through it in a certain direction. Okay, say in our case we will assume that while charging the current is flowing from node X to node Y. Okay, So it is flowing from node X to node Y. It's just flowing like this. Okay. The third fact is that any attempt to reverse the direction of current, any attempt to reverse the direction of current through it is faced by an opposition in the form of a high voltage L di by dt with a polarity which aids the purpose. Okay, so any attempt to reverse the direction of current through it is faced by an opposition in the form of high voltage L di by dt with a polarity which aids the purpose. Okay, so now how do you represent this point? It's like this. Okay, so inductor, it was charged like this from node X to node Y, and if there is any attempt to reverse the direction of current through it, results in this thing. Okay, so this is minus plus L di by dt. And you know that basic network theory says that current always leaves the positive plate of battery. So this high voltage will try to push the current in the same direction. So now there is an opposition here. So there is an external opposition which is trying to push current in this direction, and that is opposed by this thing. So both of them will try to counteract each other. Okay. So this is an attempt from source, AC source, and this is the opposition offered by L. Okay, so this is what it is. Okay, so this is an important concept which we are going to directly apply when we actually start analyzing this circuit, that is single phase half control bridge with RL loads.